Hi folks, today we're diving into one of the most powerful and underrated tools in Unreal Engine Sequencer, the Pivot tool. I will show you how you can use the Pivot tool to create precise and dynamic animations in complex setups. Whether you're creating mechanical animations or complex interactions, the Pivot tool is an absolute game changer. Let's jump in and see how it works. And just a quick note, if you're interested in recreating this scene or using similar assets, you can find the links for purchasing all the assets or characters I've used in the description below. Now, while this workflow can also be achieved by adding bones to the mechanical arm and then animating it with a control rig, sometimes it's just not practical to spend that much time and effort on a minor scene like this. And that's where the tools in Sequencer like the Pivot tool come in handy. Now with that said, let's get started and see how the Pivot tool works in this scene. Now in this sequencer, we currently have a static mechanical arm, which is just a static mesh. To make the scene more dynamic, I want to animate the mech arm so it moves the bottle and place it on the table. The first step is to constrain the bottle to the mechanical arm using the transition mode. This way, as soon as the arm starts moving, the bottle will move along with it simultaneously, creating a seamless animation. Next, I'm going to select all the parts of the mechanical arm and bring them into the sequencer. To keep things organized, I will move all of these elements into a new folder within the sequencer, and let's name it as mech. And after that, I will isolate this folder so I can focus on animating the arm without any distractions, and let's dock these details and outliner to the sidebar so we have more space. Now that I have the mechanical arm elements organized in the sequencer, I will start animating it. First, I will select all the parts of the mech arm and create a keyframe at frame 0. Then I will move the time slider to about frame 50 and reposition the parts of the arm, creating another keyframe. Alright, now let's take a look what we've done. Everything is okay for now. Let's hide this guy and continue. At this time, the arm is still in front of the table, so to make it more dynamic and realistic, I need to rotate the arm from the middle joint. To do this, I will select all the parts after the middle joint and use the Pivot tool. When the Pivot tool window opens, you'll notice two options: Edit and Pose. The Edit mode allows us to adjust and reposition the pivot point to any desired location on the arm, such as the middle joint. The Pose mode, on the other hand, is where we actually perform the rotation or transformation around the pivot point we just set. So as you can see, I went into the Edit mode first and placed the pivot precisely at the middle joint of the arm. Once that's done, I switched to Pose mode, and now I can rotate the arm from that joint to align it properly with the table. Now that I've played the sequencer to review the results, I noticed a couple of things that need adjustment. First, the lower parts of the mechanical arm have moved slightly out of alignment. To fix this, I will simply select those lower parts and rotate them back into their original position using the normal transform tools. No need for the Pivot tool here. However, the bottle is still higher than the table, so we need to make an additional adjustment, and to fix this, I will select the parts of the arm after the third joint and use the Pivot tool again to rotate the arm precisely from that joint. This way, I can bring the bottle down and align it perfectly with the table surface. Now, the Pivot tool isn't just limited to situations like animating mechanical arms. It can be incredibly versatile and useful in many scenarios. For instance, you can use it when working with vehicle animations and adjusting pivot points for car doors, trunks, or rotating wheels. Or for example, character props, rotating props like swords, shields, or other handheld items from different grip points, or even customizable animations like creating complex object rotations or movements where the default pivot is not ideal for the desired motion. By adjusting the pivot dynamically, you can add precision and flexibility to your animations without needing to create additional bones or control rigs. And that wraps up this tutorial. We have seen how the Pivot tool can make a huge difference when animating objects directly in Sequencer. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more tips and tricks in Unreal Engine. See you in the next video.